Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome back to the Empower Me Show. I am here with my dear friend, Katherine Finley. My name is Pam Bright. I'll be your hostess today. And Katherine and I met online, actually, last year sometime, when we had both been going through an online school called Awakened Academy. And we met and started working together. It's been an amazing journey. And she is out now going off on her own and creating a new business for herself and doing retreats and all kinds of wonderful stuff. So we're going to talk to her about what she's up to. And as always, this show is about you, the listener and the watcher, because I want to empower you to live your best life. So welcome, Katherine, to the show. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. So we're going to have some fun today. We're going to play with energy as we always do, and really just get into our hearts, bringing in what we call the divine feminine, because that is really the place of receptivity and honoring who we are as a soul, having a human experience in this time and place. So before we get launching into today's episode, it really helps me as a host, but also I think it helps all of us as we're listening to these energy transmissions to ground ourselves and center into the essence of who we are as spiritual beings having human experiences. So go ahead and get yourself into a place where you can just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. If you're in a place where you need to be conscious and alert, driving or with other people in a work setting or something like that, then please stay conscious, but listen to my voice and Katherine's voice as we journey in today's episode. So go ahead again and just center into that still place within your heart. Allowing that breath to come all the way up from the bottoms of your feet, which connect to the Earth Mother, and bring it all the way up through your feet and into your torso. Your torso is where your solar plexus is, where your heart center is, and connects into your throat chakra, and really connects the limbs and all of the whole system of you into this being called a human. And as we connect to that being that is human, we remember that breath as the gateway to the divine source. And we now invite in that divine source of all that exists, the Creator God, the divine mind, the spirit of the universe. Some call it the great mystery. Whatever you call that essence of existence outside and inside of you that created everything on this planet, just connect into that greater version of yourself. And know that as you do that, you're connecting with the greatest and divine version of every other person on this planet. And as we do that, we also connect into the Earth Mother that gives us our sustenance, our ability to exist, We connect into the air that we breathe, the trees that allow us to have oxygen going into our lungs. We connect into the birds of the air and the dolphins that swim in the earth's waters. And we connect into the sun that gives us our light, the star systems, the moon, the whole galactic universe that exists at the same time as we have our existence right before our eyes. And we ask the Earth Mother now to give us that beautiful energy from her core, connecting in with the dragons that exist within her, that help us to release what no longer serves us and bring in the new energies that we're ready for. And we now ask that the sacred breath inform us of who we are in this moment, what we want in this moment, and what we are ready to let go of in this moment. And I'm just going to bring in some beautiful sounding to ground in this sustenance into our body systems. And as I do this sounding using light language, bring in your guides, teachers, and angels that you work with, that have your back, that are your guides in this lifetime. Again, it doesn't matter what you call them, just invite them in. Invite them into your heart. Nana ye karabehi ala ye chana. Hena 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 yana ya yehi. Thank you all for joining us in this moment. And we now ask that we open the gateway to our knowing, and we open the gateway to new possibilities and new learning in this moment, knowing that we are all teachers and students simultaneously. And when you're ready, you can take another deep breath and just come back into this space, feeling grounded and connected to all of who you are. And you can just kind of move your feet a little bit so that you feel your feet on the earth. That helps you to get into your body and be here now in a body. Welcome back. So glad you're here. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the show, Miss Katherine. We would love to hear your journey. So what we've been up to together, what you've been up to. You're living in a beautiful, sunny, gorgeous new land that I don't know about, but have heard about, and have finding more and more people that are living where you're living now, and wondering about what the sacredness is of this land called Costa Rica, and what it has to tell us today about who we are, about what we want, and about what the energies are for this time in 2022. So welcome. Please share with us kind of how you got to where you're at in Costa Rica and how our paths crossed. I think it was the beginning of this year, or maybe even the end of last year, that we met. So why don't you tell us about you, my dear?
Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to be here. And I'm just reminded as you did that opening meditation, how powerful your frequency is. I feel more energized and like I'm vibrating at a different level. And it's just so nice to be in your presence. Mm-hmm. Even though it's over Zoom, we can feel it. right?
Oh, thank you, honey.
So thank you. Sure, a little about my journey. I call it kind of my former life. My initial professional life was as a psychotherapist, and I started with working with children and children with a lot of trauma. And that really led me on a path of learning about trauma and how trauma is stored in the body and how trauma can be moved through and released from the body. So really deep, profound learning through that, and really got me into my body through all of the trainings I was taking and working with myself, got me in my body in a more profound, beautiful way. And then there was this other part of me that was starting to blossom, this part of me that was on a deep spiritual path. And I believe it really began when I was in a master's program at what was then called Tai Sophia University, a program that is grounded in Taoism and Eastern wisdom traditions, and was really about a presence. And that really began my spiritual journey that I had not really been on before that, and led me all sorts of places, to India a couple of times, and in a Sufi program. And so over time, it started to feel like my whole self couldn't be there as a psychotherapist. And I was guided to learning about the Awaken Academy, which is a spiritual life coaching program. And so really took a huge leap and shifted into that. And I call myself now a trauma-informed spiritual and somatic life coach. And you can see how the different parts of me are braided together there. And there's just been so much joy in that transition, a lot of letting go. It was kind of catapulted by a dark night of the soul, and had me really looking at all the places in my life that were and were not in alignment. And found this new way in this life coaching field. And another piece that I want to add, because it's such a important part of my journey, is my relationship with horses. And I grew up riding horses and competing on horseback, and I've always had this deep love. And then as a psychotherapist, that led me into trauma-focused equine psychotherapy, which was beautiful, beautiful work, and now has really shifted into more divine self-alignment work with horses, really being with horses' heart field and their consciousness to help us access our divine wisdom. And so all of that, there was, in the shift for me from in my career, there was also a big shift. It's worked well for me to live through more masculine principles of using my willpower and setting goals and getting things done, right? And I did pretty well through that. I did 2 master's programs at the same time,
Wow.
And was kind of thrown through this hard moment in my life, more into living into this divine feminine principle, which was really just focusing on being aligned in here with my heart and my soul and my purpose, and then allowing everything to show up and receiving it, rather than through, finding my path through the force of my will. And I just remember you being so instrumental in that. I think it was that shift that led me to Costa Rica. Just this gentle, soft yes that kept coming when my family and I were thinking about coming here. And then I got here, and was flailing a bit, and got the message or intuition that it was time for me to find a new coach. And immediately I was on Awakened Academy, something with Awakened Academy, and immediately saw that you were looking for folks to work with. And I knew that that was you were who I was looking for. And it was a beautiful synchronicity and just the perfect timing. And our work together really reminded me of that trust. And if we are aligned, we get to trust and aligned with, and our spirit team aligned in our body, grounded in our bodies, that we get to trust and not only trust that things will like be okay, but trust in like the infinite possibilities that things can be better than we could ever imagine. And you really bring that energy, or you certainly did to me. So I know you do with everyone you work with.
Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you very much. What a wonderful, wonderful compliment. Thank you very much for that. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about this divine feminine and this shift on our planet about, how we used to be in this place of go, 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 and you got to work hard for your money and you got to strive to succeed and all of that world compared to where we're really at now in this time and space called the fifth dimension, where we're receiving on a regular basis, and it's soft and it's gentle and it's very profound. And it's called the divine feminine. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Katherine Finley about the divine feminine and horses and really, what this whole transition has been like for her. And, what does it mean for you, the listener, to be up against your own dark night of the soul and really kind of a jumping off place of this is it. You can't continue the way you've been going. That's not correct. That doesn't feel right. But you don't really know what's next or what's out there for you to take that next step. So when we come back, we're going to talk about those things and much, much more. And please know that this is also a live call-in show. So if you want to call in and ask questions, get support, get a healing, whatever you're looking for today, you can call 1-800-930-2819, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. This is the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright, and I'm here with my dear friend, Katherine Finley. And I say friend because, people that we haven't met yet are just friends we don't know yet. So I get to call her my friend because I know her now from a distance. But we have met and we are energetically very aligned. And it's so wonderful to be connected soul to soul and heart to heart with the global community. And that's really what we're becoming more and more these days as we venture into doing business online, and we've been in shutdown on and having to be online for things. People that live in other countries that don't have access to the internet, they've got to be local with the people that they're with. So that's a very different experience, I'm sure, for a lot of people. But that is something that I know that you love, is working one-on-one in person with people. Isn't that right, Katherine?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference for you between being on Zoom and being one-on-one in person as you're working with folks? What's the benefit of being in person versus online?
Yeah. I have been pleasantly surprised to feel like when I started going online back when COVID shutdown started a couple of years ago, I was pleasantly surprised by how connected I could still feel to my clients through Zoom. So I'm very grateful for that, and still see people online that are back in the States and I'm here. And I do love being in person. I mean, certainly I can get a better sense of the whole somatic system because I can see someone's whole body instead of from here up. And sometimes there's different things to offer as far as proximity that I have with the client, or a hand on the back of the heart, or sitting knee to knee in a meditation, right? So there are some pieces that just feel so nice to be in person, and of course the equine work is always in person, so we can be with these beautiful horses.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I've heard, I think I was, when I was doing massage, I actually heard about equine therapy, and I was very intrigued by what possibilities exist with that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of how you got to the place of interest in equine therapy and what it entails for folks that may not know?
Yeah, sure. And I'm out of a therapy model now, but I'll talk a little bit about that, and then shift to what I do as a coach. A lot of the work that I did in equine therapy was building a relationship with a horse, so it wasn't just the horse as a mirror, which a lot of people talk about, but really being in a relationship with a horse. And I certainly do that as a coach as well, because a horse just shows up authentically as them, right? And they are not going to hide behind like, oh, I want to please this person, or am I doing this right? Like horses just show up authentically them. And so then it's a lot easier and to see our own patterns in relationship when we're interacting with a being that's so authentic. And in building a relationship, we get to see our relational patterns, and then in real time with a horse, we get to shift those patterns and then see the impact on the relationship, right? And so it's a real embodied experience of feeling your own body and what's going on in here, and patterns that you notice, and then what can you do in real time to shift that, choose a different thought, take a deep breath, ground yourself through your feet, and then notice when your energy changes, how the relationship changes.
Interesting. Wow, that's cool.
Real time feedback, right? And then as a coach, I took a wonderful year-long program with someone called Barbara Alexander in North Carolina, and she really expanded my view to the frequency that horses have. Horses have this huge heart field that's at least 25 times ours. And they resonate at this, they're always with the earth. So they're very connected to the earth. They're very connected to their animal instincts. And they have, in my view, and in my relationship with them, they have a higher consciousness as well. And so when we really tune in and we're really present with their heart field and with their energy, we can actually entrain to that and have more access to our divine selves, to our inner wisdom.
Wow.
We entrain to their energy. And I've just seen such profound insights and realizations with people working with horses. I feel like it's not about me. It's about the horses being with this other person's being and what they're up to together. And it's just really profound work. And I think horses really love to do this work. And they're the only animal that I can think of that has such a unique relationship with humans. They've been this really important part of human evolution forever, right? Like when you think of how horses got people from place to place, that walking would have taken so much longer. The way horses have assisted in war and battle, they've just been really instrumental partners with us in all this variety of ways. And you can find things written from a long time ago of the human's deep bond with the horse.
Nice.
So yeah, they bring so much.
You have a retreat coming up, right?
I do. I'm excited. It's the first one in Costa Rica. And it's hopefully, I don't have the date quite nailed down because of the farm where I'm running the retreat, but it's going to be probably the end of July, the 3rd or 4th week. And I'm so excited about it. It's a retreat for women, and it's going to be about reclaiming our power and coming back into inner alignment. So really how to get into the body, how to find and trust your intuition, and know how to really get in contact with your knowing that we have access, and you really remind me of this, but like to everything, to the oneness. Like when we are really connected in here in our hearts, we have connection with everything. And horses really hold that energy, and so help us get there easier. So that's what the retreat's going to be, coming into the body, coming into our inner alignment, and then like, how to live from that place, right?
Nice. Oh, I love that. So you still have people, you still have room in that retreat if somebody wants to come?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a real, it'll be 8 people. That's kind of the magic number. So intimate, and you'll get to come to Costa Rica if you're not already here, which is a magical in and of itself. I do want to speak a little bit to what you were saying about Costa Rica. And
yes, please.
And what I found, I don't, it's just my personal experience, but this land, I mean, I heard recently, I don't know if this is fact, but that there's more biodiversity here than maybe anywhere in the world. That nature is just incredible here. I meditate every morning outside, and there's hummingbirds, humming right by my ears, and monkeys howling in the trees, and so much green, right? It's lush. There's a lot of jungle here. And so I've really found this land to be magical in just rooting me even deeper to who I am as my true nature, right? Like a tree is living its true nature and its full potential. And we all have that in us, like us living in, if we can get the mind out of the way, our true nature, and just living from that place and being guided from that place, which feels linked into that divine feminine, the earth being the feminine.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. I love that. So so the divine feminine, what's your take on that shift that we are experiencing and have experienced? Like, do you have a sense kind of when that shift happened for you from the divine masculine to the divine feminine?
I feel like I know the period, right? It's probably more of a gradual, but over the last, it's really been, I would say pre-COVID, like 3 years ago to 1.5 years ago, kind of that span. And for me, it was an experience of really letting go of control. I had gotten really good at controlling my life in all sorts of ways, and in ways that my life looked quite beautiful, in a lot of aspects. And there was kind of the grip of control, and the rug was kind of pulled out from under me in life, and I had to let go of that. And I feel so grateful that I had this spiritual foundation, that the spiritual foundation where I got to really collapse and surrender into the divine. And for me, it really felt like the Divine Mother through this period, and really just let myself be held by her and let myself know that she's got me. And in that, I came to this, and I've got myself, like this way of mothering myself in a way I hadn't before. And in that, letting go of control, and then seeing that things actually turn out better than when you try to control them, it started to build trust, right? Like, whoa, where are all the other places I can live this way? And where are the other places I can let go and trust and come back to my heart? Like, that was my only job, like, come back in here. And when I wanted to seek some sort of control, come back in here.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. So those of you who are listening that are like, well, wait a minute. I'm a man. Let's say you're a man listening, right? We're not dissing. It's not about a gender. Okay. We say divine masculine, divine feminine, simply because they're energies that have existed within us for millennia, right? I mean, let's face it, we were born with different parts, and with those different parts, we've created labels to attach to them. Now, in this world, this time and space, we're changing the identity of many people, many of us, to different labels, and that's fine, and that's great. We're talking here about energy in this particular episode, and really all the episodes of the Empower Me show. So don't get caught up in the attachment to a label, because that will keep you stuck in whatever world you're in of that label. So let's release the attachment to that and simply look at the energy behind the divine masculine, which we've been in as a culture, as a species, for a long time. The masculine God, the masculine way of doing business, the masculine way of succeeding in life has been very male oriented, hard, go get 'em, which, that energy is great. And it takes a lot for us to allow that part of us to exist. The divine feminine is not an opposite necessarily, but it's really the allowance, the opening to the receiving, the opening to the soft and gentle and very much feeling part of ourselves, right? We all have both energies. And when we acknowledge that, the divine feminine takes some mastery to be able to allow ourselves to find a different way than before. That's where the magic begins, is the shift, right? If you've always been an allowing person, great for you for receiving. Maybe now what you get to do is that you then get to marry the divine feminine with the divine masculine, so that then you can go and you can have action taken. So this is an exploration in this particular episode of how do we bring them together? How do we use our divine masculine to support the divine feminine in all of who we are and all of what we're about? And how can we use every step that we take to bring us into alignment with what we're about in our lives? So as we're talking, it occurs to me that it was really a magical connection for us to find each other. I think it was actually the same day that I had put out the question to Awakened Academy. Hey, I'm doing this part of the course. I'm supposed to find some people to practice on. I had already been doing business as a life coach, but I'm doing the certification portion of my life coaching. And I put the call out, and there you appeared and said, hey, I'd like to be one of those people. And then we started working together. So what do you remember from our work together, so that people that are considering having a life coach or finding some support can get an understanding of what possibilities exist?
Oh, a lot of things. I'm also remembering, you said you think it was the same day. I hadn't gotten on Awakened Academy's, I don't know if it was the Facebook page, I can't remember what it was, in months. And it was like that day, right? And so I just want to honor that synchronicity and acknowledge it, because seeing that this way of being, like, there is trust to be built in it by things like that happening. Mm-hmm. And I believe what I'm thinking back, and when I said it before, I was flailing a bit when I reached out for a coach, and I remember being in a little more anxiety around financial pieces, because I was here in Costa Rica. Who knew that it was more expensive than where I'm from in the States to live here? And shifting businesses has been a transition. And for me, when I am anxious, I seek to control. And so was feeling a bit out of control, and seeing that and not wanting to go back into that old pattern. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I think spurred me to reach out for a coach. And of course, you were the perfect one, because so much of what you reminded me was to reach out to receive from all the support that is here all the time, right? Rather than control something to make something happen, like, open up to the incredible support that is here, just waiting to help. And so we created multiple spirit teams together for different aspects of my life that I still, talk with every day. And you were, a constant reminder too of that support is here all the time. I don't have to be in meditation without my 5-year-old around, getting really centered to access that support. I can actually be in that field at any time. And I really appreciate, and I really try to work this way too, of you weren't telling me how to do something. You were really bringing me back to myself and my own inner knowing, so that I could take our work forward, right? Rather than I would need to rely on you. And it feels like that's an important part of this time. We all get to find our own inner power, and we get to be helpers to each other. And I think the time of the guru has left. We're all our own inner guru.
I have to agree with that. The other thing that occurs to me with that is that I think that's a major difference between counseling and coaching. When I remember when I was in school, like within the first 6 months of school, this was years ago when I first got introduced to coaching, that was the distinguishing factor between us, between the coaching field and the counseling field. And the counseling field is very important to the world. Don't get me wrong. Counseling saved my life when I needed it. And an aspect of counseling is, let's heal your past. Let's get all that stuff complete. And let's look at reasons why. And let's look, it's a lot of that, which is great. It's perfect for the time that someone needs it. And once that major need gets met of the trauma, whatever the trauma's been, then the coach steps in and says, where do we go from here? Right. And to me, that kind of locked it into place.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Is that your experience? Oh, I think you just cut out.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Okay.
I think it's just slowed down a little bit. Yeah, I know beautiful therapists doing work with clients to really thrive, right? And I think one of the things I noticed about the therapy world is there are boxes around, like if you want therapy to be paid for by insurance, the therapist needs to give the client a diagnosis, right? So then there's this frame of the person has this diagnosis that needs to be fixed. And then once it's fixed, insurance won't pay anymore, right? So it is, there's a lot in the system of, and I think honestly, a lot of it comes from the insurance world, which is too bad, because it's really nice to have insurance help pay for things like that. But it can create these boxes that therapists have to be in that I'm sure a lot of them don't want to be in. And I do agree that coaching is more in a world of thriving rather, and not that there's not healing involved, but I think of often the therapy world as more of healing, and the coaching world is more, okay, now let's thrive in every aspect of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to kind of look at that. And I want to actually just give a shout out to what we talked about in previous episodes about systems, that really the systems are breaking down globally on a big scale. Like every system that has existed really has been broken. And we've somehow, as a human collective, we've survived it. And we can't continue the way that we've been doing life as a human collective. We just can't. Everybody knows this. Most people know this. I don't know that everyone knows this, but really a lot of the world is needing to be different. And along with that comes the whole world of what we're talking about with, okay, this is the format for this particular business, and this particular way of doing business is this. And there's this business over here, and it does business this way, right? We're talking about bringing it together, right? Let's connect like this so that the systems can come together. And we'll talk more about that in future episodes, but just wanted to kind of give a shout out to that because I think it's important that we look at that. So we still have a few minutes left to explore. We have 10 minutes, it looks like. So thank you, Jacob, for that information. anything that comes to mind, actually, if people want to join you for this retreat with horses, how would they do that?
So go to my website at sovereignheartcoaching.com, and there will be the link to sign up there. It'll be posted up there soon with the exact dates. And so if you don't see it yet, check again. As soon as I have the exact dates, which should be in the next week, then I'll be posting that. And there you can just learn more about me. I don't have social media because it's just not a piece that's aligned with me. And me being a coach, all about being alignment with spirit, it's important that I follow that. And so in this moment, that is not something that I do, but I have the website, and you can find out more about me, about workshops I'm offering, certainly about individual coaching, like doing a free discovery call with me to see if I might be a good fit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where to find me. Sovereign Heart Coaching.
And can people coach with you online as well?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, great. Awesome.
The majority of my clients are still online from my connections and networks back in the US. And so absolutely. Yeah.
So if I were somebody who wanted to coach with you, can you give me an idea of kind of, what a coaching session would look like with you? Do you have kind of a format of what you do?
Yes and no. It's interesting that we were talking about shifting from this more masculine to more feminine way. And, as a therapist, I was made fun of for all the trainings I went to, all the formats that I wanted, right? All the structures that I wanted to feel okay about what I was doing and not trusting my intuition. And so as a coach, there's really been a shift of honoring and trusting the energy that comes forth when I, in my, being present and in my body, connects with a client, and that what manifests in that moment will be the perfect thing. And so I do always start, similarly to what you did at the beginning of the podcast, with some sort of guided meditation to get both of us in our bodies, to call myself and my clients' higher selves forth, intentioning that the session be in the highest good for each of us and the all. And then it really depends on what springs forth. And so we might have kind of a plan that was gently being held from the week before, or something new emerges. But to give a taste of some of what comes up, if someone is working with me on finding their divine purpose, right? It might be really feeling into what lights them up and really getting into the body. So I work a lot with my clients of noticing what their body's telling them. A lot of, we're pretty practiced in our culture of being kind of walking heads, right? Being cut off from our bodies. And so getting into the body to receive the signals that the body's giving. And then there might be, fears that pop in, or parts that judge us that pop in. And then we get to be really mindful and present with those parts somatically in the body, and see what those parts have to offer, and see how they can actually lead us back to our centered, aligned knowing, rather than trying to get rid of these parts of ourselves, right?
It really is about honoring, isn't it? Yeah, that's great. Yeah. All right. Well, that's awesome. I just wanted to kind of give the listeners an idea for those that are like, okay, so you say you're a coach, but what do you mean by that? Right.
Mhm.
So they kind of know a little bit more about you. They know that there's a special connection between a horse and the individual. And so if this is something that interests you and piques you into the next level, go ahead and get a hold of Katherine at sovereignheartcoaching.com, and she will give you the information about this wonderful retreat happening in the summer. And if you're interested in her as a coach, she would be more than happy to connect in with you as a coach. I am also available to you as a coach and a healer and a channel at brightbutterflyenterprises.com, or you can email me at theempowermeshow@gmail.com. And as I've said before, if you want to be a special guest on the Empower Me Show, please contact me and let me know that, because I would be more than delighted to have you on the show and find out what you are doing for yourself and for the world to empower yourself, to bring delight into your life and others' lives. So as we end this particular time together, is there something, a statement or a mantra or an affirmation or something that you feel could help people for the next 24 hours?
So there's a question that I heard recently on a podcast, and it's a deep, beautiful question that's just been rattling around in my own mind. And I speak to clients about it, and it's, and what do you know that, like, deep inside, that you really wish you didn't know about yourself or about your life? And it's a question that points to something that might be in the way of, it points straight to our inner knowing, because we know all the things, right? and it points to the parts of ourselves that might need extra support, that are trying to not know that thing, right? And so it's a question that really points us to our alignments.
Yeah, absolutely. So in coaching, that's actually called an inquiry. And an inquiry gives you the ability to dive deeply into that question, and different answers will come up as you bring that in. So that's the invitation today, is that you take that on as an inquiry for yourself to really delve into what's next for you as a human being, as a spiritual being, and as a person who is ready to empower themselves on this journey. So it looks like we are ending our time together, which I'm sad about, but I'm so happy to connect once again with you, my dear. And I look forward to more connections and sending more people your way, so that you can flourish as a business owner and as a light on this planet. And thank you for joining me on the Empower Me Show today. Thank you, the listener, for joining in. And if you have any questions at all, please contact Transformation Talk Radio and ask the question there, or the Empower Me Show at gmail.com to find out more about how to be on the show, how to ask questions, how to get the support that you need. We love you, we bless you, and go and have an amazing life. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.